Hello, nerds. It's your favorite duo, Marc and Renee. And this week, we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to our hearts. We say that every week, but it really is telecommunications. All right, buckle up, folks. First stop on this wild ride will be the blue box. Marc, back in 1970s, people figured out a way to hack the phone system with this little device called a blue box, invented by none other than the legendary Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Woz was living large in that moment, right? Yes, that's right. Before they were revolutionizing personal computers, Jobs and Wozniak were out there making illegal calls to anywhere, anytime, and paying nothing. It was a hacker's dream. And all it took was a box the size of a Rubik's Cube. And slightly more technical, though. These blue boxes allowed people to mimic the special tones that the phone system used to route calls. Think of it like tricking your phone into thinking you're in the next room when really you're calling from a couch while not paying AT&T for long distance. Wait, I have to talk about this for 1 second because seriously, long distance used to be really expensive. Really expensive. When I first moved to California, I had to budget to call my parents. I had to budget that. Right? So they were bypassing the system to make free calls anywhere in the world. I mean, it's impressive, but also, can you imagine being AT&T and finding out your entire phone system is getting punked by a couple of teenagers in their garage? Yeah, right. AT&T was not having it. They were losing money left and right. But the fact that people were pulling this off, especially with something as simple as a box that played sound tones, was mind-blowing. Marc, did you do this? Did you use it?
No, no, not at all. I heard that they called like the Vatican once and tried to get the Pope and stuff. It's very sort of typical was, right? No, I didn't do this. I mean, by the time I was a kid and knew what this stuff was, and we talked about this right before we started, was the little Cap'n Crunch whistle was 2600 hertz, and that's the tone that like was magic to the signaling system. But it was a little bit before my time, I was in grade school, so it's
Yeah,
probably not.
it was definitely before my time, and I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have gone out and bought a box where I went. I'm afraid of going to
No.
jail. So
But I do remember like the long distance stuff quite directly because it wasn't long distance to call like grandma, but it
yeah.
was because grandma was in Orange County. Both the grandmas were in Orange County, but it was just a little bit more expensive than just calling, the next door neighbor. And I think I can't remember what it was. It might have been like a bulletin board or, some modem thing that I was using. And I remember it was Sierra Online. They had a bulletin board system way, way, way back in the olden days. And so I had a modem and you could go and you could download stuff and get updates and, do different things. And it was a long distance call. So, I had a run in with the parents over the price of turning the computer on, hitting the modem, dialing, and basically being online for hours. And you remember back in the day you had to have like a computer share or was it CompuShare, computer share? Yeah, CompuShare, right? Or CompuServe,
Oh,
and AOL
oh
and
yeah, because you had to get there somehow, right?
yeah,
And
you
you
remember the
dialed up the
local
modem.
numbers? Yeah.
Yeah,
You had to
yeah,
have a
yeah.
local number. Yeah, because if you didn't have a local number, you dial the 800 number and then you'd put it back on them. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, but way back in the 60s and 70s, phone calls themselves weren't, background noise. They were it was like a metered utility, and that's what this is all about, right? Is that you paid by the minute, by the distance, sometimes even by the time of day. I remember that, like, after 7 o'clock.
After 7. Yeah.
Yeah, a coast to coast call could be close to $1 a minute. Like, can you imagine how much a dollar is? Way back, 40, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Well,
It's
I
like,
can because you could
yeah.
get 2 McDonald's hamburgers for $1. Like, yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so it's quite expensive. which it doesn't sound like a lot now, but even $1 a minute, it's quite a lot. But it's several, pounds or dollars per minute today. So families planned phone calls, right? Did you ever do this? Everybody get around, and it wasn't like chatting on the phone. It was like reporting. There
Yes.
was like,
Yes.
yeah, and there was timers and how much time
Yes.
and stuff. No, fortunately for us, like, I remember it wasn't too bad because most of the family was in California, at least when we were growing up, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, off peak, and sometimes it might even be cheaper to fly to see parents instead of calling them, every day.
But that was just it, like, even going away to Penn State, so I'm in the middle of the state of Pennsylvania, just so you know. Main campus for Penn
There you
State
go.
is literally in the middle of the state of Pennsylvania. For me to call back to Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
it was interstate long distance. That cost 53 cents a minute or something crazy like that, so you
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
even
yeah.
really do that. And then when I
Yeah.
moved to California, that was full on long distance, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was a lot of but then what AT&T would do is be like, "Oh, hang on, you can buy a long distance plan. We'll give you 31 minutes for $30." And you're like, "Wow, what a bargain." Like, "No, I shouldn't have to pay for any of this, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah, yeah.
I shouldn't pay for any of this, and here we are, right? I'm thinking
Well,
it's a bargain to get $30 for 30 minutes, right?"
and that's the thing with these blue boxes, right? They're it's not just like pranking the Vatican or something like that. It's people actually figuring out that, hey, this really, tightly controlled system is being held together by, you know, whistles and tones.
Well,
Uh, yeah.
just so everybody's clear, like, just like Captain Crunch, General Mills put out, and when you get in America, when you get a box of cereal for kids, not only do you get a ton of sugar and almost no nutritional value, but you get a plastic toy that you can choke on if you eat it. So in this toy was a whistle because Captain Crunch was a captain on a ship, and so I guess whistles make sense, right? But
Yes.
this particular whistle was exactly 2,600 hertz, which was the tone you needed to switch to an a long distance line,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to pay for it. So
Yeah.
everybody's running out buying Captain Crunch, throwing out the Captain Crunch part, which I don't know why. I get it does cut the roof of your mouth until it gets soft,
Yeah,
but when it
yeah.
does, no, dude, it's peanut butter. It's pretty okay.
Uh,
Anyway, you have this. They would so you'd pick up the phone and get okay. Just so you got, 'cause I know all of you have cell phones, and when you pick up your cell phone, there's no dial tone to let you
yeah,
know
no
it's
dial
okay
tone.
to start like boop 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 boop. No, first you had to wait for ding, like I can boop 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 boop. That's what you would do, right? So you would get up, you'd listen to the dial tone, and then you'd blow the whistle into it, and then you dial, and then boom, you're not paying for anything. That's exactly how it worked. To think that AT&T got robbed blind by General Mills. Okay, fast forward a couple of decades. The blue box era passed, but hunger for hacking didn't. Now we've got SIM swap frauds, and it's way more sophisticated. Instead of hijacking a phone system with a few tones, fraudsters today are hijacking your SIM card. SIM swap, which is hard to say, fraud is like the evolution of the blue box hacking, but for your identity, right? So here's how it goes. Someone fraudulently convinces your mobile carrier to swap your phone number into a new SIM card that is in their possession. Boom. They've got access to your calls, messages, even things like your bank account if you link that number for two-factor authentication. Just so we're clear, like when you log into your bank and it says to you, I'm going to text you this number, you put it in here and you can get in. That's multi-factor authentication. And when you do that, when someone else owns your SIM card, they get that number too, which means they now have access to your bank accounts. Sounds crazy, but it happens.
Yeah.
They've got access to your calls, your messages, and everything like that. And it's not like the fraudster's doing this with a bulky box. Nope, they're just talking to customer service, pretending to be you, getting your number switched over to their own SIM. It's social engineering at its finest. And the worst part, they can now access your multi-factor authentication codes, the ones that are supposed to make your accounts extra secure. With just that one text message, they've got everything they need. It's like a digital sneak attack. And let's not forget that the actual professional scammers out there using this as their side hustle. This isn't some kid in a basement anymore. It's a multi-million-dollar operation now with tons of identity theft at stake. So Mark. I mean, we always say this is why we can't have nice things, because as soon as we get nice things, they get weaponized against us. Is
Yeah.
this the weaponization of the phone?
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing these sorts of SIM attacks, and we'll go into eSIM stuff in a minute. But these kinds of attacks around SIMs have existed for as long as there have been SIM issues, and the weaponization here you've got this really secure thing, a SIM card, and for people that don't know, these SIM cards they're smart cards, and there's a whole set of standards around smart cards and chips. It's the same exact technology that's on your credit cards. If you look at the form factor of a SIM and you look at your credit card, there's a shiny little, gold spot on the card or whatever. It's the same thing. And so it's a really extra secure piece of hardware. But right, the least secure part is the human element, right? And so when people started to figure out that actually you could start calling carriers and you could play around and you could socially engineer this, then that's where the bad stuff starts to happen. And because people use this for so much of their life, like, okay, Renee, you lose your keys. Do you ever lose your phone? No, you never lose your
No,
phone.
no.
Like,
I have thrown it in the trash on the plane once, and a pilot did have to go through that trash for me. But no, I've never actually
like
lost it. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, the people's phones are attached all the time, and so it's an identity factor. So, what changed here wasn't just technology, it's what your phone number means now. Your number is your recovery key for your email, your bank, your social accounts, and sometimes even your job. Like if you have a BYOD, bring your own device kind of scenario. So if I can control your number, I don't just control calls or texts. I control like the digital aspect of you. And this pattern should sound familiar. The blue box hacked trust in the network. The SIM swap hacks trust in people and processes. So it's the same idea, but completely different blast radius. What's scary is that this isn't some like elite technical exploit. It's social engineering. It's people being very good at sounding legitimate to customer service. And the system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do, optimize for speed and convenience. And fraud, lives in that gap. Like, can it squeeze in between that security and convenience factor? And that's where all of these sort of attacks happen.
It's like lock picking, right? So if you ever go to a security conference, RSA is a good one, right?
Yes.
NSA is there because they're always recruiting, and they'll have tables full of padlocks essentially,
Yeah.
right? And a bunch of lock picking tools, and it's just laid out there, and they want to see who can pick a lock. Because if you can figure out how to pick that lock, you could probably figure out how to pick any lock, because once you realize how the tumblers work in that lock, yeah, it becomes super easy to exploit. I can unlock one, I can unlock all of them. I can unlock your front door, I can unlock your back door, I can unlock your car. I can unlock anything if I can figure out how to do it once, because once I know fundamentally how the tumblers work, whether they're single-sided, double-sided, if you're wondering, I do have a lock, like I have a lockpick kit that I play with just because I'm a nerd. But I mean, that's just it, right? That's any exploit. I'll say that about anything, any software exploit, any hardware exploit. Like any exploit is, once you figure it out, to recreate that over and over and over and over and over again at scale actually isn't all that hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what the exploit is, go exploit it. Like, that's exactly how this stuff works. And I guess, like, this idea that, like, the more technology we get, the harder it's going to be to exploit it. Nope. As soon as we figure it out, we own it.
Yeah.
As soon as they figure out how to get to your phone, they own it. As soon as they figure out how to get to your computer, they own it. Like, they own it. Like, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Well, in that, like with locks and lock picking, right? One of my favorite YouTube channels, a lockpicking lawyer. I don't know if you've seen him. He's really good.
I have
Um, oh yeah, you got to check out the lockpicking lawyer.
I'm
He's
still
really
stuck
good.
in the whole, like, everyone hates Meghan Markle thing. So, like, I'm
Uh,
in a whole different
no, no,
YouTube thing.
yeah, no. So the lockpicking lawyer, but people try to build, and there's been some makers that have built like a quote unquote unpickable locks and stuff. And it's not that any lock isn't pickable or unpickable or whatever. It's that the cost and convenience of building some of these systems to make them more difficult to pick is sort of counterintuitive and counter to the objectives, right? If Master Lock wanted to mass produce a lock, well, it costs money to make them more pick resistant, and so they
Mm.
don't, right? So there's just enough deterrent. They're selling a deterrent. They're not selling security, right? And that's where lockpicking kind of skates that security convenience, the continuum there. If you make it more and more secure, then convenience drops off the continuum. And it's that's the way it is on every single one of these technologies.
All right, well, hold on to your smartphones because this is where things get real tricky. Enter eSIM technology, the latest, most secure, and almost easily hackable advancement in the mobile industry. The beauty of the eSIM, no more messing around with physical SIM cards. You can switch carriers and plans setting directly from your phone. But guess what? That new digital SIM also comes with a new set of vulnerabilities that scammers have figured out how to exploit because we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Imagine this, no more physical card to swipe, but now the hacker doesn't need to swap out a SIM card physically. They just need to access your phone account online, mess with the eSIM activation process, and with the right tools, they can activate a new eSIM on your phone and boom, they got control of your number and your life. It's like magic. And they don't even have to break a sweat. And when you're left with a phone number that isn't even yours anymore, like that's crazy. Like every phone call you get is being listened to by another person. Every voicemail, everything you search, every app you use, every password you implement, it's all in the hands of somebody else. If you're lucky, it's law enforcement. If it's not law enforcement, though, you're in bigger trouble. What's worse, though, Mark? Like law enforcement gets it all, or a
I don't
bad
know.
person gets it all? I think it's equally bad.
I
It's
mean,
equally bad.
well, yeah, is there's no yeah, there's no good
So
choice
how do we
there.
secure it? Like, can you secure an eSIM? Like, am I just destined to go around the world, like, with people just trying to steal me?
I well, eSIMs, the technology itself is pretty secure. Like, I shouldn't even say it like that. It's very secure. Like from a standards and practices perspective, you look at the cryptography, all of that's like it's bulletproof. Like the way that these eSIMs work, the way that you can essentially provision a new phone onto an eSIM is because you're provisioning cryptographic material onto an eSIM, and then that process then allows you to then put the secure material into the secure element on the phone.
Mm.
Like this is a like major simplification, but that's essentially what it is. And for people in the payments industry, this is like pin key rotation,
Mm.
right? Pin key changes. Like, can you change the master pin keys in a pin device without having to bring it back to a place to then have new keys injected into it in a secure facility? Well, with an eSIM, that essentially that original material that allows you to encrypt some things is there, and then you can reprovision more new cryptographic material to do new activity. And that's all like it's all locked down. There's a secure element of the device, and you can't clone it, you can't pull it out of the physical card. That part is all that's all good. But but what happens is, the provisioning process here is the weakest link. So with eSIMs, you're not protecting the piece of plastic, you're protecting the workflow. So to activate an eSIM, a carrier has to decide three things. One, who are you? Two, do you have the right to this number? And three, should we move that number right now? Those decisions don't happen on the phone. Okay, fine. They happen in the carrier systems, different portals, call centers, backend APIs, and a lot of times they're triggered remotely. And I don't know if people have done eSIM. Like I travel a lot, go to Africa, walk into Tangier or Agadir or something like that in Morocco, and you get an eSIM. Well, it's like you literally walk up to one of the booths and they take your phone and they tap, 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 zip, 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 put in a couple codes, you get a phone call, put it down, and then 2 minutes later, you got an eSIM activated on your phone. And that whole provisioning process, it goes through several steps to make that all happen. But all the decisions to do that happen through things like, as I said, portals, your email,
Mm.
right? Text messages, phone calls, codes, those sorts of things. And that's not hacking the eSIM, right? That's hacking the process around the eSIM, process. So, for example, someone can compromise email or convince a carrier they're you. They can initiate that provisioning event. It might even involve a QR code or some sort of app-based activation or a backend transfer. So, from a network's point of view, this all looks legit. The customer asked to move the number. The system did exactly what it was designed to do. And that's the same pattern that we had with SIM swap, but eSIM removes just a last bit of friction. So it's like, yeah, it's a more secure technology, but the processes to make it work are pretty much the same. So there's no physical handoff. So actually, it's made things easier from one perspective. The security in this case, it didn't disappear. It sort of
Well,
threw upstream.
but that's just it, right? Like this idea that the last line of defense was this account says Renee Murphy and the person standing in front of me is some guy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
this, right? You know what I mean? Like this isn't right. Like it's just like that last line of defense is gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and I shouldn't make it sound like eSIMs are worse because in a lot of ways it's better. They do make some attacks harder. You can't steal a SIM from a table, right? You can't
Mm,
like,
yeah.
okay, weird story. So our family doing citizenship in the UK, we went to one of these places that was like taking all of our information and photocopying our documents, and we had to get our pictures taken and biometrics and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So as we're sitting there on the table is stacks and stacks and stacks of data sims. Like, here you go. Would you like to 20 gig data sim? And I'm like, okay, interesting. But like in the UK, you literally just sims are easy, super easy to get. You just pick them up off the table. But you can't pick an
Wow.
eSIM off the table. Not exactly. You can pick up like an eSIM, QR code or an activation process, something like that. The problem is that most people don't secure these accounts, right, that they're associated with. Email addresses, account pins, various kinds of systems that people use to secure their data. Those are vulnerable. So, we obsess over phone locks and biometrics, but forget the real keys live in those email boxes and carrier profiles and recovery flows. So eSIMs aren't a failure of cryptography or hardware. They're a reminder that modern security is mostly about process design, and process design is where convenience and security are constantly at war.
I don't know. Every time I walk into an Apple store and I see people like upgrading their phones, right? And they're in there for 20 minutes. They leave their old phone and everything on it behind, and they take their new phone that magically has everything on it again. And they walk away thinking like that's perfect. Look, it's secure. I did it with a vendor I trusted. That
Yeah,
trusted vendor is not known for misbehaving that way. And they have enough internal processes that I probably feel okay about it, right? But okay. Okay, so I'm in Russia on vacation because of course I would be, right? And I'm in
were we
St.
talking about
Petersburg.
Victor again?
Yeah, Victor with a K, who was selling corn on the street, which I thought was amazing. We don't have enough corn vendors on the street as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to the Hermitage. And the Hermitage is closed that day because it's May Day. It's the
Oh,
the day
right.
that they celebrate the liberation from the Nazis,
Yeah,
right? And so it's May Day and everybody's out in the streets with, celebrating, and all of these other places are closed. Banks are
yeah,
closed, museums are closed. It's a
yeah.
national holiday. But because we're a bunch of foreigners, they let us in the Hermitage. So there's people working in the Hermitage that day. We have a tour guide. We're going through I swear to you, and I'm not kidding. I turned off Wi-Fi. I turned off Bluetooth. I put it in airplane mode because I want my camera. I don't have any other camera with me, so
Yeah,
I need
sure.
my phone for my camera. There's tons of stuff in the Hermitage, some of it being fabric art that is actually pretty amazing. And so I definitely want to see it. And I definitely want a souvenir of that, and I want to take a photo. And I don't know how this happened. I don't know how this happened. I still am confused. I crossed the threshold of the Hermitage and everything turns on. everything turned on. And I'm getting text messages from America
Yeah.
screaming at me, "Oh my God, he fired Comey." It's all I'm getting, like, over and over and over and over again, like, "Oh my God, he fired Comey. Oh my God." And I'm thinking of all the crap I could get in Russia. I don't want it to be political crap.
Yeah,
Like, I just
exactly.
don't want this. Like, this is not okay, right? But when I think about the attack vector of that, y I'm in a foreign country. They're definitely an adversary of the United States. That is
Yeah, yeah,
definitely a national security
yeah.
problem. And
No.
I still think to this day, my phone number has something attached to it with the Russians. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah,
it? They
yeah.
know I was there. I had a phone. They have the data. Like, of course that's what happened. Of course
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what happened.
I
Right.
mean, state actors are state actors. I mean, there's not much you could do.
But
You
think
know,
of how many
there's
people cruise and go to other
yeah,
countries
yeah, yeah.
and they have no concept of that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, if I were smart and I cared about national security, I would have turned my phone off and left it on the boat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And I don't think we think like that. I don't think normal people think like that. I don't think
No.
regular people think like that. I think the CIA thinks like that, but they don't tell
Yeah,
me to
yeah.
think like that. And now Victor with a K picks me up when I
Yeah.
am in the National Zoo, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I like
I
this
mean,
stuff, I think we need to be smarter.
I
Yeah.
think isn't it I haven't traveled I mean, I've only been in Hong Kong, I haven't been to mainland, so but I think if you go to mainland China, you gotta put, like, the tourist app on your phone, which, come on, if you're gonna put, some state-derived app on your phone, you're done, that's gonna
Well, I mean, don't I already have that since I shop at Temu? Like, all you guys who have Temu on your phone or Shein, like, that's all China tracking you. Like they know
Okay,
where you go, they know what
yeah,
you look at, like
editing out,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that you've got a national Chinese app if you've got Temu.
yeah, yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe
In all
people
fairness, we do it too in the United States, and we do it for
yeah,
people who are coming here for asylum, and so
yeah,
we let you across we used to anyway, let you across the border, ask you to put this app on your phone, and then tell you you have to answer it if we talk to you. We are tracking where you go and what you do,
yeah,
and you're gonna schedule all of your court hearings and all of your check-ins on
yeah,
this, and it worked really, really well
yeah.
for many.
Well, I mean, for asylum, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's you're those rules, you do it.
Yeah. So, what does this all mean for us as users? Well, first, we're living in an era where hacks are so slick and so sophisticated, it's easy to forget how we got here. From simple blue boxes to the multi layered cyber crimes of today. But if we've learned anything, it's that digital security needs to be taken way more seriously. And it doesn't help at all of this hacking is done with no physical wires, no devices the size of your old VHS tapes. It's just digital tools that require very little effort. And yet, here we are, navigating the new digital Wild West. It's like the whole landscape shifted from here's a thing to hack to everything's hackable. In the past, we were talking about people dialing into a phone system with few frequencies. Now we're talking about the dark web, social engineering, and the underworld of fraudsters swapping SIM cards and controlling eSIMs.
Yeah. I think so I wanted to give an example of kind of, big hack that can take down, kind of infrastructure. And we talked about signaling system 7 before SS7. And while this is an old system, these attacks are happening now, but it's kind of a big piece of infrastructure. But this is not the only example. But I just wanted to, go into this for a second. So and just kind of reset expectations, right? Because it's not like movie style hacker shutting down the internet. And I think when did we talk about Signal 7? Was it in the authentication episode?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they probably were thinking, "Oh, ooh, this is kind of weird." But basically, it's like a nervous system of the global phone network. So if you go back to, phone phreaking and Captain Crunch and all of that, a lot of that infrastructure exists still today. It may be worked differently, and there's other controls around it, but that stuff was designed in the 70s. Telecoms there's a handful, not thousands. And so if you're on the network, you're assumed to be legitimate. And this is how a lot of network type systems, particularly that grew up in the, the 80s, 70s, and 80s,
Mm,
work. Like if you like the Federal Reserve, if you're on the node of the Federal Reserve, your presence assumes well you're a trusted node. I mean, obviously there's authentication mechanisms now that didn't exist before, but
are we talking about the SWIFT system?
oh
Because
yeah,
you
I
used to
mean
have to, yeah,
Swift and
yeah,
yeah, of course. Again, like I've done a lot of stuff with Swift, so now you've got to have multiple authentication and
right.
dual and all
Well,
that
it
stuff.
used to be you just had a dial up to it, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
knew the
yeah.
number, so you were on SWIFT and you were trusted.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, and well, and it's there's these kind of why would I the types of things that happen for certain things like well, I couldn't you can't create, like, magical accounts, so, like, what are you doing? Are you causing chaos, or are you you already have a compromised account? Like, this is how certain types of some of these systems resisted security for a long time because the types of activities that you could participate on in these systems didn't really benefit an attacker, but, you know but benefiting an attacker doesn't necessarily it's not where the attack necessarily ends, right? And
right.
that's the point of these sort of Signal 7 attacks. And, just to cut it short, there's real world cases where attackers gain access to the signaling network through whatever, small or compromised telecom providers, and they use that access to silently intercept SMS messages. And once you see SMS traffic, you can capture one-time passcodes. And once you do that, SMS-based two-factor authentication just kind of falls over. And this is where it should be kind of scary, right? Because I've just told you that in the real world, real life hackers have successfully intercepted, SMS messages. That's that's that should be, a little bit concerning.
Especially
And
since we use it for so much still, right? Like, we
yeah,
still use
yeah.
SMS for so much stuff.
Yeah, but that's and there's probably lots and lots of examples that are like that. Telecoms aren't unique here. The internet has similar trust-based routing problems, right? We've continually have DNS issues, right? Where we have DNS poisoning, right? If you're assumed to be one of the large DNS servers, you're assumed to be trustworthy. Well,
Mm,
we know that that's not necessarily the case, right? So look, talking about Signal 7, it's not that the protocols or the systems are broken. It's that there's a huge amount of modern infrastructure built on historic trust models, whether it's DNS or, signaling systems or text messages or whatever. And, that's kind of the uncomfortable piece here that most of these attacks don't work because people are careless. They work because the systems we rely on are designed, to trust first and verify later, right?
mm,
Trust but verify, one of our
mhm,
favorite sayings. And
mhm.
that's the big sort of global slow problem that we have to fix. But it does bring us back to the smaller, boring things individuals can actually do like right now.
Yeah, I aspire to agoraphobia. I just, there's no reason to leave the house. I'm just gonna make my life smaller and smaller. I'm gonna talk to less and less people. Is it possible? I'm gonna ask you this because I'm not sure. Is it possible for you to gain access to my SIM, not to receive, but to send? So I
Yeah.
have, let's say I go through mainland China. I now have that little app attached to me everywhere I go. Yeah, I probably gave that little app access to everything, including my phone number, and that phone number can now be used to communicate with me through nefarious, maybe not even nefarious, you're just looking to disrupt, right?
Yep.
Could a nation state do that to you? Like, once they
Sure.
have that data, why couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of I mean, that's kind of how SIM swaps work, right? Is that they can impersonate you. Yeah, well, and
Nothing's real anymore.
I don't even think that that's necessarily state sponsored. We didn't have it in the script, but I have you seen the new or heard about these new attacks where and maybe it's not so much in the States because of do not call, I don't know. But in the UK here, we get lots of phone calls on mobiles, right? Solicitations, but a lot of them are fake. "Oh, I heard you were just in an accident," or "I lost my phone." If it was me calling my daughter, it'd be somebody saying to Keely, "Oh, I lost it's your
Well,
dad.
that's
I lost
happening
my
here. It
phone.
happens on social media,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But
Yeah.
what's getting interesting is that the crafting of these attacks they're starting to use AI. So what will happen is they'll call, one person, me, and they'll record my voice, enough of it to then generate a bot, or an overlay, a filter for somebody else to talk, right? That to make it sound like it's my voice, and then to try to fool whoever's on the other side. And so there's new protections against this even now too, because this is starting to happen. So if you don't recognize a number, you can on like I know Apple has implemented this. You can implement a screening feature where
Oh, I did. I actually
yeah,
did.
I
Yeah.
saw that. It's really good. It's a good thing to do because you don't
Yeah.
want unknown, characters capturing your voice, because your voice is not only an authentication mechanism on a phone, right, to just people that you're talking to, but it's also like banks use it as an authentication,
Mhm.
mechanism. Maybe not the only one, but it is an authentication mechanism. So, anyways, sort of
I
tangent, but
remember because one of the things you do as an analyst is you get briefed on stuff, and companies are always looking to find an analyst who will listen to them just because now you have someone on your side and they can do webinars for you or something. I don't know, but I remember it was a Hollywood company who reached out and said we can faithfully reproduce your voice. All we need is 23 minutes. Now, 23 minutes was 10 years ago, so now they just need
yeah,
like 2, right?
yeah,
And when you think about how much content you and I just put out onto the
I
internet,
know,
like,
I know,
we are prime candidates for that crap, and I
yeah,
have 10.5 years of that. I've done hundreds and hundreds
yeah,
and hundreds of webinars. Like, it would be very, very easy to reproduce me. But what's terrible about this, and this is happening right now, so female golfers on the pro tour in the US, they said they're having this problem where these men come to their to their meets or to their
yeah.
game. What do you
Events,
call
yeah,
that when you event? Yeah, I guess it's a golf
yeah.
event where they come to the event and these guys get really aggressive with them. Like, "Why did you quit calling me? I sent you all that money and you act like you don't even know me." And
What?
yes, and it's because they're getting somebody has a video of them. They can make that pro golfer say anything in a video. And they do this thing where they send them these texts and it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey John, hi, it's me. How are you? Hey, you know what? I'm
Oh,
headed to the
man.
next city. I need some money. Here's my GoFundMe. Can you help me out?" And then they just keep it going and they don't have to even do anything. It's a chat. So
Man.
it's a chat bot having a relationship. And this one guy said, "I have tried to convince my father over and over and over again that this is not real. He sold his house. He did this guy
Oh.
thinks he's in love with a 23-year-old golfer and there's nothing
Oh
his
my
son can
gosh.
say or do about it, right? It has gotten to the point where because what you used to think was, well, that's not her because I know what she looks like. Well, okay, that's what she looks like. And she's talking to me. Well, that's not her. That's not her voice. Like, well, no, that is her voice. And so, yeah, I feel like that to me, that deep fake crap that people are using to steal your money, and they're doing it on this crazy macro level. So you don't even have to be famous. It's that your godson or your grandson or somebody has a YouTube channel. They'll go steal it and they'll give him money. Like, it's
Yeah.
the craziest thing,
I
right? And
know.
these people are falling for it, and it's really hard to talk them off that ledge once they're on it. It's
Yeah.
terrible,
No, I mean,
terrible.
it's
I
really
fear for
scary
our
stuff.
parents.
Oh, I
I
know.
fear for late us as we get older.
Us.
That's what right?
Well, like, no offense to the boomer generation, right? But, like, so much crap gets pushed onto the internet from, just AI, stuff.
Yeah, I just wanna remind everybody, here's my friendly service announcement to the world. The internet is not real.
Yeah. It's
Just don't believe anything it ever tells you. It's not real.
it's there's more, AI content now than there is real content, so,
Yeah. I'm a fan
it's
of Bigfoot AI slop, though. If I just put that out there,
well,
like, if you
gosh,
have an AI slop channel that's Bigfoot, send it my way, I love
send
it.
it.
All right, so listen,
Okay.
this is how do we avoid becoming the next target? Well, there's a few tips for keeping your phone and your identity safe. First up, use two-factor authentication on everything, banking, social media, email. The more
Yeah.
layers you have, the harder it is for someone to mess with your account. account. Even if someone gets your password, they still need the second factor. Also, be careful when someone calls or texts you asking you to verify your identity. This one happens to me a lot. Hey, your
Yeah.
Coinbase account's been hacked. I don't have a Coinbase account. You think you could be better at this, right? The real companies won't ask you to confirm sensitive info over the phone. That's the other thing. Facebook will never call you.
Yeah,
They will
exactly.
never call
They'll
you.
never.
Google will never.
Yeah,
Amazon will never call
never.
you. Don't answer those phones, right?
Yeah,
And set up so that's all it is. Be careful when someone calls or texts and asks you to verify your identities. Real companies
yeah,
won't ask you to do that.
yeah. And set up pins and passwords on your mobile account with your carrier. Like, nobody does this hardly. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and so just so, like, what does this actually do? Like, if you put a pin on the carrier account, then basically you can't, so many people don't put pins on them that all the hacks are designed
To-
to to work
Yeah.
without that. So as soon as you put that on there, and if it's only, the pin for that carrier account, you're done. Like, your pin is your SIM is safe. They won't be able to access, your account without the pin.
And for the
Uh,
love of all things digital, never click on suspicious
oh
links or
gosh, yeah.
respond to unsolicited messages from unknown numbers. If it feels off,
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
your
yeah,
gut, right? If your grandson is behaving in a way they never behaved before, it's probably not your grandson.
yeah. Yeah, no.
So, from the blue box to SIM swapping to eSWIM fraud, one thing is clear: we've come a long way in technology and not always in the right direction. Isn't that our whole podcast should be about that? Like,
Yeah.
yes, we can do it, but should we? Yeah, right? But with the awareness, good security practices, and a little caution, we can keep our devices safe from scammers lurking in the shadows. And who knows, maybe in the future, phone hackers will be sneaking into your car or your smart fridge. Nothing's safe anymore. Everything's connected. So it's up to you to keep it all locked down. All right, so hey, you guys, thanks for tuning into the Nostalgic Nerds podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. You can email us at Mark. What's our email address?
nostalgicnerdspodcast@gmail.com.
Until next time, keep geeking out about tech, stay secure, and remember, if it's too good to be true, it's probably a hack.
That's right.
Got the long distance blues, but the distance ain't the miles. It's the space between the promise and the voice I don't know now. Used to pay in quarters, used to hear it click. Now it's free as falling water and twice as hard to fix. Didn't hear it break, didn't hear it bend. Just one day, the voice on the other end wasn't quite where I left it, wasn't quite mine. Like a train that keeps on rolling long after it left the line. Old switches humming in a locked back room, built for a world that was smaller soon. Trust was a tariff, distance the fee. Now the bill comes due somewhere I can't see. Got the long distance blues, but the distance ain't the miles. It's the space between the promise and the voice I don't know now. Used to pay in quarters, used to hear it click. Now it's free as falling water and twice as hard to fix. Used to count the minutes, now I count on trust. Funny how the cheap things cost us the most.
So I want to talk about some numbers.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because okay, so you know how Spotify does Spotify Wrapped?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so all right, because I always like to bag on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, did you see LinkedIn did like a rap sort of clone thing? It's pretty pathetic.
Is it?
And
I
oh
haven't seen
yeah.
it.
Oh, you should see if go onto your profile and then see it's there. Um,
Okay.
but because we host with Buzzsprout, the podcast, Buzzsprout today sent me hey, here's what you did in 2025. And I thought, "Oh, how wonderful." So, by the numbers here, let's see if I can pull it up here. Right. Get to the end of it. It's not very well done. You know, so I'll have
Note
to
to our vendor, it's not very well done.
yeah, I mean, Spotify Wrapped is pretty slick, so, take a clue from there. Okay, so 4 months of podcasting in 2020. Oh, we should have said at the beginning, this is our first episode of our second season. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yay,
so
season 2.
4 months of podcasting, 22 episodes published, 862 downloads,
Wow.
um, across 30 countries
Wow.
and 163 cities.
Huh.
We published a total of 831 minutes across our 22 episodes.
Wow.
So, yeah, almost 1,000 episodes, almost 1,000 downloads, 163 cities globally. So, that's really cool. I think that's neat for only
Thank
4
you for
months.
if you are the person who listens to this, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, we started this as why did we start this? Mostly I just wanted to hang out.
I don't remember, what was it like, didn't we
We were
have,
both not working. We
I
just
don't
wanted
know.
to
Well, that's that just sort of, well, I mean, we're both working, just working for ourselves, I suppose now.
Yes, we are now, yeah. And so now we
The,
have time to do a podcast, yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was some LinkedIn thing, like, wasn't Kirk we should do that. We should do, like, a Cooking.com, like, reunion show or something.
Ah,
Um,
that'd be fun. Talk about, like, technology in the old days, how we used to
yeah.
have that stupid cookie switching, and we thought that was the most amazing thing we'd
Oh,
ever
I
seen.
know, yeah. And, yes, so, like, there was some LinkedIn thing, and we put some messages, and Kirk was, and we said something, "We should do a podcast," or something. I don't remember.
That's
Something like that.
crazy. Well, I'm glad we
Yeah.
do it. I have a lot of fun every week. It's fun to write them. It's fun to do them. I'm glad people listen.
Yeah.
And maybe one day we'll write a book.
Yeah, well, okay, so plans here. So Renee and I have talked about this, but and if you've downloaded some of the other sort of extra material, I've started making songs for each episode that we do.
Oh, we're gonna do an album.
Yeah, so the first season, I have the plans for each episode song, and I've written lyrics for several of them, and actually used some tools to generate some songs. And if you've listened, I've released one for vulcanized rubber, because that was awesome. That was a fun song, and then one about shipping containers, and then the one that I'm struggling with right now, but is sort of just getting close, is kind of like an acoustic body pub tale about that I've titled "Tales from the Booth" for the cinema episode.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's pretty funny. I think I've almost got it. I've almost got it. It's taking quite a while to get the chord progressions right and everything, and get the right sound. But yeah, the first season, all of the songs will be recorded by like a bluesy hard metal kind of band. And then Renee wants to do yacht rock
I do
for
wanna do Rot
season
Yacht,
2.
and I'm really into classic soul too, so we should do some of that. Some
Classic
Phil
soul.
Withers, yeah, some Otis
Yeah,
Redding,
so
yeah,
so
classic
season
soul.
2, maybe we'll do all the songs as a yacht rock,
Yacht rock, I
album.
love yacht rock, I can't get enough of it.
But I started looking around, and I thought this was kind of a fun idea, like to have a theme song, not a theme song so much, but a song that kind of takes something from the episode and then writes a stupid song about it. And nobody else is doing that in the podcast universe. And I thought,
Maybe
well, maybe there's a reason why nobody's doing that in the
I
podcast
was gonna
universe.
say, maybe they're
But
onto something.
yeah, but there's and you can't. I got to tell you, the thing that I've gotten the most feedback on over the last couple of months is the songs. Is Each song has just as many downloads as any episode.
Really?
And yeah, yeah. And then then people asked me to put the songs onto Spotify and, like, set up the album on Spotify, which is like, "Okay,
Let's do it.
let's do that."
That's hilarious. That's
So that
hilarious. And then it's a Nostalgic Nerds album, and each
Yeah.
season has its own album. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
be into that. I'd be into that.
So I think that's cool, and each one, it's not like it's a summary of the episode, but it's like one was about shipping containers. Like, that's just stupid,
It's
like
stupid, but I love it. It's like what was that band, the Presidents of the United States of America? They would
Yeah.
sing about picking peaches. Like,
Peaches, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's
so
just
yeah,
dumb.
why not?
Like, who builds a bluesy speed metal song about vulcanized rubber? Like,
We would.
we would.
And good for us.
Anyways, so that's what I do in my spare time.
And I use AI to write fan fiction of The Office, which, by the way, I've got a whole season going. It's really good.
Yeah,
Michael runs
well,
for mayor of Boulder.
Now,
It's
I
good.
will admit, I do use AI for some of it, but frankly, I've been writing lyrics, I've been writing chord progressions, I've been, doing a lot of it, and then editing and all of that. Oh, and check this out. I actually have merch. I have new stickers.
Oh, I like that.
And you know what? It's a real QR code, and it will
Is it?
actually, yeah, it'll scan.
So when are we going to do merch? We'll have to figure that out.
I don't know. I'd figure it out. Anyways, all right. So if you were still listening at this point, then thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll see you later.